Eisenberg, and we've been doing these conversation series for MS Awareness Month, and Q is the greatest, and we made her March 31st. So the end of our celebration, but the conversations do continue. And I want to introduce Q to you. I think most of you actually know her. That's the thing, because Q is very famous around here, but I will read her short introduction, and then we will get moving. So Anqunette Q Sarfoh spent 20 years as a TV journalist and news anchor in Indiana, Las Vegas, Boston, and Detroit. After 8 years as the morning anchor for Fox 2 Detroit, Anqunette retired due to the effects of multiple sclerosis. Through changes in diet and using cannabis, Anqunette went from taking 9 medications a day to taking none, and is an advocate for teaching others how to lessen their dependency on pharmaceuticals. She's the founder of Culture, which is spelled with a Q, which is a line of CBD and cannabis-infused products to address the needs of non-smokers. Anqunette is a member of the board of directors of the Michigan Cannabis Industry Association, volunteers with the National Multiple Sclerosis Society and League of Women Voters, and often speaks to community and support groups about the safe and appropriate use of cannabis. So welcome, Q. Everyone's very eager to hear you.
Thank you for that wonderful introduction, Mindy, and thank you all for being here. A couple of things before we get started. First, I want your questions, so please don't be shy. Ask me a bunch of questions, because that's actually makes the time go by faster. I'm not just sitting here lecturing, and a lot of times people, if you ask a question, there's a great chance that someone else also has that question. They're just a little shy to ask it. So please don't be shy. Ask me anything, and I will try my best to answer it. Second, none of this is meant to be medical advice. I'm a patient. I am not a medical professional. I am just a girl who got sick and wanted to find some ways to feel better. And through that journey and through that course, I was able to help other people find ways to feel better. Third, while I advocate and I try to help people lessen their dependency on pharmaceuticals, I want you guys to know that I still take pharmaceuticals. So I believe in science. I believe in these products and these medications that can make for a better life and can provide a better quality of life. My goal is to help you find what works for you, and also give you tools and information to ask your doctors questions, because I just want you to be informed, to ask your doctors questions that could help you. So just for example, a week and a half ago, I was at the hospital. I had a 14-hour muscle spasm in my hip that would not release. It would not release with baclofen. It would not release with full spectrum cannabis oil. It would not, definitely wouldn't release with CBD. It took Valium, Norco, and ibuprofen. Okay, administered at Henry Ford ER. All right, so know that I'm an advocate of doing what works for you and finding what works for you. And sometimes if it's pharmaceuticals, great. If you want to lessen your dependency on pharmaceuticals, maybe there are some ways that we can help. So that being said, my journey started because I went from taking no pharmaceuticals to taking 9 pharmaceuticals, and I was sick all the time. It bothered my stomach a lot, and so that's when I started my journey into cannabis. I found that in using sativa strains, which are how can I put it? Sativa strains tend to be energizing. So I was dealing with fatigue issues. And so that helped me have a little bit of energy, and I was able to lessen my dependency, at least on that pharmaceutical. So people tend to use CBD and cannabis for a myriad of ways. And Mindy, I have to say that You guys let me know how you want this, because how much time do we have? Do we have an hour? Do you want a PowerPoint presentation? Or should we just hop into it and ask some questions? Do you want me to tell you about how your endocannabinoid system works? I have like a PowerPoint if you guys want to do something like that, or we can really just kind of ask questions. So
I think it's more informal here, and you guys can either, if you don't want to unmute yourselves, you can talk in the chat as well, and I'll make sure that Q gets the question. Maybe just give an overview of what you're up to, in general of how you use it, and then we'll go into questions.
All right. So first, let me tell you about why cannabis works for you. So all of us have this series of receptors in our body, and those receptors are called your endocannabinoid system. So for instance, the first time your endocannabinoid system was activated possibly happened if your mother breastfed you, because breast milk is full of anandamide, I believe that's what it's called. And anandamide is one of the very first endocannabinoids. So your body makes that already. Also, if you've ever, if you've gone for a walk, or if you were a runner at one point in your life and you got that runner's high. I have never experienced a runner's high, even though I completed 2 marathons, but some people get this high. That runner's high is considered to be an activation of your endocannabinoid system. So when people wonder, why does cannabis work for so many different ailments? It's because of your endocannabinoid system, and these receptors are in your brain. They're throughout your central nervous system. There are these series of receptors in cannabis. So when I say cannabis, I mean CBD and THC and all of the acids that make up, the medicinal acids that make up the cannabis plant. You will notice that while I may say marijuana and I may say pot or weed, the correct terminology is cannabis, and it's cannabis whether you're talking about CBD or THC or CBG or THCV. There are lots of cannabinoids in cannabis, but the 2 most well-known are CBD and THC. So this system, this endocannabinoid system, is a system of homeostasis. So it helps your body find balance. So it figures out what's wrong with you and it corrects it. So that's why it works on a lot of different conditions and symptoms. If you were to go into a provisioning center, you will see cannabis usually divided into 2 different types, indica versus sativa. Indica strains are relaxing. So if you have a hard time sleeping, if you tend to be in a lot of pain, indica strains may be a little bit more beneficial for you. And by the way, the names are all over the place. So, one day it may be purple Urkel or granddaddy purple or, Violetta, so there, or then you may have, super lemon haze and all these kind of things. So laugh at the names, but look for the effects, so for indica, think in the couch. It's going to leave you with a heavy body. Sativa, uplifting. So like, for instance, Gorilla Glue is a sativa. It's sativa for me, but it can be indica for other people. So we have sativa and indica when you go into a provisioning center or when you look at cannabis menus online. However, what really gives you the effects of these flowers are what's called terpenes. And terpenes are the aromatic compounds. So just like if you smell lavender, lavender smells like lavender because of the terpene linalool. And so these terpenes are found in all types of plants, but when it comes to cannabis, they help potentiate, or they help accelerate or encourage the whole, they call it the entourage effect. So they work better together. So if you're looking for something that's more relaxing, you'll go for an indica, and you'll look for something that has linalool that smells kind of like lavender. If you're like me and you have memory issues, you may look for something that smells like pine, because that has the terpene pinene in it. And pinene is good for energy, and it's also good for memory. If you are in pain, you want something that has beta-caryophyllene in it or myrcene in it. Myrcene is the same terpene that is in mangoes. And so that also helps make cannabis a little bit more effective. So we'll start there. So let's see, we have indica, sativa, we have terpenes. And now let's talk about ways to use it. So we all know you can smoke it, you know, put it in a pipe, roll a joint, pack it in a bowl, which a bowl is a smoking pipe, and you can smoke it that way. What I like about smoking is that if you're trying to figure out what works for you, smoking is the quickest way to do it. Go to a provisioning center, buy a gram. A gram may cost you anywhere from $8 to $20. But at least that way, and a gram is just a gram of flour, they will weigh it. And that's enough for you to have, you know, roll at least a joint or have at least a couple of puffs to see if you actually like that flour and if you like the way it makes you feel. So, so you have smoking. Another way to use cannabis that is better than smoking, at least it isn't so damaging to your lungs, is called vaporizing. Now you hear a lot of things about vaporizing. There are different ways of vaporizing. Now you have vape pens that, you know, you may see people smoking these vape pens all over. I do like vape pens, and if you ever come to my tea parties are sponsored by a vape company. But I would suggest that if you're going to use vapes, please buy them from a licensed provisioning center, because that way they are tested and you know exactly what's in it and they are safe. And also we have a nurse, we'll talk about my nurse later at my tea parties, but vaping. There are also, though, you don't necessarily have to vape oils in those pens. You can also vape flour, and those are called flour vaporizers. They tend to be a little more expensive, but instead of burning your flour material or your plant material like you would in a joint, vaporizers just heat it up enough to release the essential oils. And so you'll be inhaling the essential oils and the cannabinoids that way. So it's a cleaner way of inhaling cannabis. Also, when you look at clinical studies done on cannabis, a lot of times they use a vaporizer called the Volcano. It's a $500 vaporizer and you blow out of a bag, or you smoke out of a bag. But it is the way that clinical trials are conducted, because when doctors say there's not enough evidence, I want you guys to say, in fact, there are 25,000 studies on cannabis that have been conducted all over the world. And so, because there are, and you can find these studies just by Googling scientific cannabis studies. All right, so we have smoking, we have vaping, and then we have things like tinctures. I'm surprised how many people do not know what a tincture is. So tinctures are drops of oil. It's either oil or vegetable glycerin, usually oil, because oil is more bioavailable. Your body, THC tends to like fat, and your body absorbs fat better. So a lot of manufacturers will mix cannabinoids into MCT oil, which is coconut oil, and use and put the cannabinoids in a product that way, which is what I've done. So we have tinctures like this. I'll show you. So this is a full spectrum tincture. There are all kinds of full spectrum tinctures out there. So, and there are all types of CBD products out there. If you are looking for a CBD product, be it mine or anybody else's, two things I want you to remember. Full spectrum. Full spectrum means it has all of the plant materials in it, all of the medicinal cannabinoids in it, including trace amounts of THC. It will not get you high, but it's enough to make that CBD work better in your body. So legally, you can put up to 0.3% of THC into any CBD product, which is why you'll see there's always that little less than 0.3% THC, because that legally tells you that it is a full spectrum product that contains some THC. However, if you are subjected to drug testing, even though the amount of THC in this will not get you high, over time, it will build up in your body and you will test positive if your company tests you for THC. THC is fat soluble, so if you're a woman, we got a little extra fat in places, you know, THC is gonna bind to that fat. And so when you have a drug test, or even sometimes if you just go out for a run or whatever, you know, you may, you know, release some of those cannabinoids back into your bloodstream that have been held into your fat, in your fat cells. So just keep that in mind. So if you are subjected to drug testing, I want you to look for something that is considered broad spectrum. So I want you to look for what it says right there, broad spectrum. Broad spectrum means that it has all of the cannabinoids except THC. So THC, and they make these products for people who need to be drug tested, but still like the benefits of CBD. So you have tinctures. Tinctures can be used in a number of ways. You can, the most effective way is to take out the dropper, fill it up with whatever dose works for you, usually anywhere between 0.25 milliliters up to a milliliter. Put it under your tongue, hold it for 30 to 60 seconds, and then swallow it. So when you hold it under your tongue, it gets into your bloodstream quicker within 15 minutes or so. And then when you swallow it, it turns into an edible. And then that way it'll take about 2 hours to kick in. Remember, edibles take about 2 hours to kick in. So always remember that. So in addition to taking a tincture under your tongue, you can mix this into food or into a drink, which again turns it into an edible. And also what I love about tinctures that people don't tell you about is that in a pinch, yes, you can even use tinctures on your skin and on places that hurt. So if you have painful joints and you don't have a fancy cream or you don't have a roll on, take your tincture, take your CBD tincture and put it on whatever knuckles hurt, if your foot hurts, it's all the same stuff. And it's all in oil. So your body absorbs it through your skin, through your mouth, through your stomach, and digestive tract. Your body knows what to do with it. So you can put it in everything and in anything. All right, that being said, so we have tinctures. Let's move on to topicals. So people love topicals, and and I know that Mindy, I have waited in parking lots to get a certain type of topical for half of Mindy's people and Yoga Moves MS. So topicals are very effective.
Wow. You guys, I hope you're appreciative.
They are.
You're not usually so demanding. I don't know what this is. We're going to have a talk.
No. It's funny. I always
You're waiting in line for these guys?
So back in the day, there was this guy, and he's now legal, but I'll just tell you because I can't make it. So there is this topical. My topical is just called a healing balm. It does not have THC in it, which is why I can sell it online and other places. But however, there is I'm just going to give him his props. Chill Medicated Extreme. That is the cream that people at Yoga Moves and Mess, I bought a case of that stuff. I was like, look, if you guys order a case, I will meet him in the parking lot and I will get your case. So, so yeah, but he can't do that anymore. He sold it to me at wholesale. So now, Chill Medicated is only available at provisioning centers because it has 750 milligrams of THC. It's quite potent. But if you have significant pain, I tell people, while I love my little balm and I make it myself and I put my heart and soul in it, I can't put THC in it, not to the levels that he can put into his. So if regular CBD creams that you get don't work for you, I want you to step up to something that has THC in it. So Chill Medicated is the one that tends to be, it's award winning and it tends to work, and half of Mindy's people love it. So they've already.
So what is it about people who do yoga and have MS like
Well, you know what, I have to say that I just started selling products. I used to, I spent 5 years just making it and kind of giving it away. But so now that I can kind of, look and see what works for people, topicals are still not my biggest seller. You have a lot of people who do not want any type of psychoactivity. You have a lot of people who are concerned about taking another capsule or another gummy or whatever. And there are some things to be concerned about. For example, I tell people, if you look, before you start taking CBD, I want you to grab all your prescriptions, all of them. And I want you to look and I want you to see if any of them say, do not take with grapefruit. Because if you have a drug that has a grapefruit warning, it uses the same pathway as CBD. And so that pathway is called cytochrome 450, I believe. I'm not a pharmacist, but that pathway If you take CBD at the same time you take that drug that has that grapefruit warning, CBD has the ability to put more of that drug in your bloodstream. That can be dangerous if you're on something like a blood thinner. You know, so you don't want
to know.
Yeah, so if so look at your drugs, and if anything has a grapefruit warning on it, I want you to take your CBD products either 2 hours before or 2 hours after. You want to space it by 2 hours. So that's the big caveat with taking CBD, ingesting it. A topical, it doesn't matter. Topical, you can take it all day long. That doesn't matter. But once it gets in your body, if it has to go through your liver, that's when you want to start making sure that you're not getting any drug interactions. And with CBD, the only interaction is with anything with a grapefruit warning. Okay, so we've covered tinctures, we've covered topicals. Let's talk about some of the other things like capsules. Capsules, you can get them at the pharmacy, or not the pharmacy, you can get them online, you can get them at provisioning centers. I tend to make my own capsules because that way I can gauge how much THC and how much CBD is in it. Also, and we can talk about making capsules. There's actually, if you go on my website, I did it for Zoom. So I can actually, you know what, Mindy, how about I'll send it to you. I'll send you, it's only like a 3-minute video on how to make capsules if you want it. And then that way you guys can, yeah, you guys can see it at your leisure. You don't have to look through a whole 1-hour tea party. Okay, so we have that. Finally, we have capsules that I make, and I also want to talk about suppositories. So because nobody knows about suppositories, and they work. And so, especially if you don't want to get high. I don't know, a lot of people have you guys heard of, like, a show of hands? Have you heard of this stuff called Simpson Oil? You know? Okay, great. So some people have. All right. So Simpson Oil is named after this guy called Rick Simpson. And he's a Canadian, and he found a way to make this, to process cannabis into a concentrate. And and it looks like tar. And he used it to treat and cure his skin cancer. If you want to see a fascinating movie about him for free, it's on YouTube. It's called Run From the Cure. Rick Simpson, because he was so successful in treating his own cancer, lots of people found out about it in his small Canadian village, and he was helping them too. The Canadian government found out about it, and they prosecuted him. So the movie is about that. But anyway, his recipe on how to make Rick Simpson oil is available for free. It's on phoenixtears.org, I believe. But if you Google how to make Rick Simpson oil, or RSO, that's short for RSO, that'll come up. So you can also buy RSO, which is also called full extract cannabis oil, because that's what it is. You can get that at provisioning centers as well. So ask for RSO. The thing about RSO is that it is quite potent. So it's sold in 1 gram vials, and 1 gram will have anywhere from 750 to maybe 950 milligrams of THC. The average dose of THC, by the way, is 5 milligrams. So a 5 milligram gummy usually gets an average novice person a good buzz. 10 milligram gives you a really great buzz. So if you're taking, 750, you're gonna be on your butt. You won't die, but you're gonna feel like you're gonna die. So don't do that. What you can do is the average oral dose of RSO is the size of a pen head, as in a tiny, tiny drop. And they'll even put it on a Q-tip. What I do though, is that I mix it into capsules, or I mix it into suppositories. The thing about suppositories is that if you have lower body pain in particular, and you have back pain in particular, and you do not want to get high, cannabis suppositories are the way to go. You can get a lot of medicine into your body absorbs a lot of it because you have a lot of nerve endings in your, at the bum area. And so your body uptakes those cannabinoids much more effectively, actually, in that area. That's why a lot of people with, sometimes people with cancer, they go on what's called a Rick-Simpson protocol. I'm not endorsing that, by the way, I'm just giving you this for information. But the Rick-Simpson protocol for cancer is 60 grams of RSO in 90 days. So people have to work their way up to that. And some people do it with suppositories. Some people just learn how to just take that much RSO and just go to sleep at night. So, but it takes a lot of time to build up to that. You guys won't have to take that much unless you're trying to fight cancer. If it's just for pain of MS or back pain, you can get a gram of RSO at a provisioning center for anywhere from 25 to 50 bucks. And you can make a good 10 to 15 suppositories. I buy food grade cacao from Whole Foods, you know, so it's basically chocolate. You're just putting chocolate up your bum. And so you mix it with, you mix your RSO into your melted cacao. You pour it into suppository molds that I also get from Amazon. Put them in the freezer, and in 10 minutes, you've got some pain relief that won't get you high. And so, yeah, you can also use those if you have female issues. For example, if you have like, some people have endometriosis, you have cysts that are rupturing, if you have a painful menstrual cramps, those also are effective for those. Finally, I will talk about patches, because patches are effective for people, and they tend to last a long time, anywhere from maybe 8 to 16 hours. Depending on how long you leave them on. The dose is a little bit lower, so if you need a lot of pain relief, you may not get the pain relief you need out of a patch, but some people find them to be quite effective. And my only thing about patches is that I think they tend to be a little expensive. Your average CBD or THC patch will cost you about $10 each. Okay, I think that is my general spiel. All right. So bring on some questions.
All right, let's hear your questions. Either unmute yourselves or put it in the chat. Either way.
So I have a question.
Sure.
So I have a really difficult time sleeping. I went to the T on Thursday, and I'm taking the cherry gummies that were in the kit.
Oh, well, it depends on where you got the kit, because every provisioning center put in something different.
Green Genie.
Okay, so your cherry gummies, do you know if they were indica or sativa?
They're the indica.
Oh, okay, all right.
And so it relaxes me, but I'm only staying asleep for about 3 hours.
Oh, okay.
And so I have used the leaves, I guess.
Yep, flower,
Flower. I tried that. I don't know if I'm doing it wrong or what.
Are you inhaling?
I think I am.
Okay.
I think I am. And so it relaxes me, but it does not keep me asleep.
Okay.
I've gotten up and I've taken another gummy.
Yeah, that'll take 2 hours to come back. Yeah. See,
Yeah.
Yeah. So here's what I want you to try. The next time you take a gummy, first of all, when you inhale it, when you take like a hit off of a joint, or I don't know if you got the chillum and you put some flour in the chillum.
Yeah.
Yep, the chillum. When you inhale cannabis, the effects last at most 2 hours, at most. And that's if you're like a novice. Usually, you have a puff and you feel good for like maybe an hour or so, and then it kind of wears off. So this is what I want you to try when you took that one gummy, and you woke up, how did you feel when you woke up? Were you groggy, or did you feel like you had taken the edible at all?
Well, the first night I felt maybe a little groggy, just a little bit. The second night, I don't know what happened. I was just hyped. I didn't go to sleep at all.
Okay, here's what I want you to, you know what? So what happens with these gummies, again, if the gummies are made with THC distillate, and so they just mix up all this distillate. and then they sell it on the market. So while they say it's indica, you know, it could be indica leaning. Like for example, Gorilla Glue is supposed to be an indica. Gorilla Glue is supposed to glue you to the couch. Gorilla Glue has me mopping my floors. You know, so everybody is different. So so I'm wondering if because I always thought though, if they gave you choice, I thought the choice indica ones were the blueberry ones. And the cherry ones, I don't know. But if you say they say indica, okay, then they say indica. So here's what I want you to do. I would like for you to take 2 gummies, because there are 10 in there, right?
11.
Okay. All right. I want you to take 2, but I want you to take it with some sort of fat. So 2 hours or even maybe like an hour before you go to bed, I want you to take it with either like some nuts, have a piece of toast with some butter on it. I want you to put some fat with it because the fat will slow it down. I want you to get a double dose because your body will continue to metabolize it as it metabolizes the fat. So yeah, so adding fat to it makes it last longer. So take, and maybe if you don't want to go up to 2 gummies, take a gummy and a half, but definitely eat something with it and make sure you eat something fatty with it. Don't do sugar. Sugar will cut the effects. So by the way, if you ever get too high, take some CBD or take something sugary. So do an orange juice, a lemonade with real sugar in it, but sugar tends to lessen the effects of THC. Fat tends to accelerate or make more, I can't think of the word I'm looking for, but make more pronounced the effects of THC. So take a gummy and a half tonight with either a handful of nuts or a spoonful of butter or half a spoon, maybe like a little bit of olive oil or something. Just put some fat with it to help your body absorb it better, and just take a little bit more.
And it could be a fat like avocado.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, yeah. Do some chips and dip. Yeah, or just the dip. Absolutely. Yeah, but a fat will help your body absorb it and help it last a little bit longer. But yeah, but when you get up in the middle of the night, if you take a gummy, it's not going to kick in for another 2 hours, and then it's going to be time for you to get up. So always remember that gummies take forever. One more thing too, though, if you want to help your gummy get into your body quicker, put it under your tongue first. Let it melt under your tongue. So at least you can get some of those cannabinoids in your bloodstream sooner, and then go ahead and eat it and swallow it. But I think the fat will help.
So
Thank you. Oops, I'm sorry.
go ahead.
Great suggestions. Great.
Somebody had sent in a chat, what do you smoke certain things for? Because I do both sativa and the indica. I smoke sativa, and I'm just like you. I can take 2 puffs in the morning. I am running and cleaning for 8 hours.
Yeah.
I save the indica, and the indica I vape, and then I smoke in the evening because it does relax me because I'm an insomniac. But the indica, if you stick with it, will really, really, really help. I mean, I've gone for like 3 hours a night of sleep to like 6 in the past year.
Oh, good. Oh, and
so if you stick with it, it might work for you.
Oh, and Sharon, you know what? I also, because when you ask if you're doing it wrong, there is actually a way that they call it a therapeutic puff or a therapeutic inhalation. So what I want you to, so just to make sure you're doing it right before you puff, I want you to fully expel all the air out of your lungs. So do a big exhale, get it all out. When you inhale, if you're inhaling from if you're smoking, inhale only for 3, but if you're doing it on a vaporizer, you can go for as much as 10. So you'll go 1, 2, 3, and hold and have that inhale. I want you to try to hold it for like at least 5 seconds and then blow that out. If you can hold it for 10, even better. But that's what's considered a therapeutic puff. So, and you know what? Oh, let's see. I did make everything for a certain reason. Okay. First, all right. So we have full spectrum CBD. This is just the basics. So I tell people if you have arthritis, anxiety, the main things that people use CBD for, and that's pretty much that, anxiety and arthritis. That's what my full spectrum is for. It also has terpenes in it. I believe in terpenes, which is why I tell you guys about terpenes. And so this one has a terpene blend that enhances focus, because I wanted something that's good for the daytime. And I want people, if you have people who are, a lot of people use CBD for anxiety, and their biggest complaint is they can't get their minds to stop thinking about all these things that could or could not happen, and just to kind of focus. So they make terpene blends for that. And so this one is formulated with a terpene blend for focus. My next one is sleep, Delta 8 sleep. So here's the thing about Delta 8. Delta 8 is a form of THC. Okay, so when you are doing a drug test, they're testing for Delta 9 THC, and that's what all the edibles have in it. That's what they test for, to give you the THC concentration in flowers. When I say flowers, I mean weed or cannabis. When you go to the store and it says, hey, this Gorilla Glue has 28% THC, they're testing for THC. Delta 9 THC. This has Delta 8 THC. Delta 8 THC has half of the psychoactivity of Delta 9 THC. So if regular edibles get you too high, you hate that feeling, this is considered THC light. I'm also going to tell you that because this is derived from hemp, and so it's legal all over right now because of a loophole. Companies here, all over the state, all over the country really, are trying to get this illegal. They're trying to make this illegal. I'm working against it, but just so you know, because this is cutting into their markets. So kids are also getting this at gas stations. They're getting Delta 8 gummies at gas stations, and it will get you high. So I want to let people know that. I have 2 Delta 8 products for now. So I figure I probably got about a year before they make it illegal. But I love, I take Delta 8 every night. And I take it because I've mixed it with Delta 8 because it gives you that psychoactivity. It also tends to relax you. So it makes you sleepy. THC tends to make people sleepy, especially Indica Strains. I mixed this one with CBG though. People really haven't heard about CBG too much, even though it's really big here in Michigan. CBG is short for cannabigerol. CBD is cannabinol. Yeah, cannabinol? Yeah, okay, cannabinol. Yeah, anyway, no, it's something else. CBD, no, CBD is cannabidiol. I'm sorry. See, this is what happens when you smoke while you're presenting. Okay, so Delta 8 mixed with CBG, which is cannabigerol. Cannabigerol is also anti-inflammatory like CBD. They tend to work together. There's been a lot of studies with CBG when it comes to MS, and that's also why I put CBG in it. I want more people to start taking CBG because we're all renegades. So the more of us who are taking these things and telling all of us what works and what doesn't, that's what gets the medical community on board. That's what gets other patients out of pain. So there's been a lot of talk about CBG, cannabigerol, and it's also sedating. So I mix CBG with Delta 8 and also linalool, because linalool is one of those sleep terpenes and I want you to relax, and that's also why it's purple, so you guys can remember it. So Delta 8 for sleep because it's for insomnia. So another CBG product is my Culture CBG. This is a relief tincture. This is equal parts CBG and CBD, formulated with pain terpenes like myrcene and beta-caryophyllene. So CBG is also being researched as a pain reliever, as an analgesic. So they're looking at CBG for a couple of things. And again, this isn't medical advice. This is just research. This is what researchers are looking at right now. So they're looking at CBG for things like Crohn's and colitis and IBS, neurodegenerative diseases like MS and Parkinson's and ALS, and then as an alternative for pain relief. So it's supposed to be a really good pain reliever. I test everything out on myself. However, I don't really have a lot of pain. So that's why I formulate things for people and it's okay, let me know how this works. But this is equal parts CBD and CBG. So CBG for pain, CBD for inflammation, and the terpenes to help them both work well together. Finally, when it comes to, not finally, but I'm just gonna talk about tinctures. I didn't bring everything down here. I have an energy tincture because I struggle with energy. This has THCV in it, and tetrahydrocannabivarin. So THCV is also, I actually got this one for two things. My mother has diabetes, and my mother developed diabetic retinopathy 2 years ago. Freaked her out. They told her she was gonna go blind. And so I just started looking into everything. So we definitely put her on. She's fine now, by the way, she sees fine. But I started looking into everything, and they were looking at THCV for diabetes. It's good for metabolism and blood sugar control. So I was trying to find ways to keep her blood sugars down so we can get those A1C levels down. So if you have diabetes, you know what I'm talking about. So THCV is being studied for, they call it diet weed. It's supposed to be an appetite suppressant. If you go into other mature cannabis markets, for instance, Colorado or Las Vegas, you'll get vape pens that have THCV in it because they are, while other cannabis products are known to give you the munchies, THCV kills the munchies. It's an appetite suppressant. And it also gives you a little bit of boost of energy, according to the research. Unfortunately, because it takes a lot of sativa strains tend to have THCV in it, for example. So if you are looking for a strain that you want to smoke that is high in THCV, Doug's Varin, if you can find it, has a lot of THCV. Jack Herer has a lot of THCV, and Durban Poison. So sativa strains, the South African sativa strains, Durban Poison, that would tend to have some, depending on how it's cultivated, should have some levels of THCV in it. So again, gives you energy, suppresses your appetite. They are also looking at THCV to blunt the panic, the flight or fight response. So for people who have panic attacks, they're looking at THCV to address those. I made a pain cream because people love pain creams, and y'all have been killing me for pain cream. So this one has a lot of essential oils. Essential oils are the same as terpenes. It's just a lighter version. It has some terpenes in it as well, but I believe in essential oils. They work. This also has 3 types of oils in it, including, I do it the old fashioned way. I infuse calendula and jojoba oil. So it's really great. Everyone should have their own calendula infused jojoba oil.
Wow. So we have a few questions about pain. One says, what might help with numb, stinging in legs? The sensation gets worse the more active I am. Would that one help? There's another one about they have pain in their back when they go walking. If they put a patch on beforehand, will it prevent the pain?
I would say if you want to walk every day, you should incorporate CBD into your regimen every day, especially if you have things like back pain that you know are driven by inflammation. Like, for example, my mom had a bum knee, right? So after about a month, and to the point where it was swollen, she could hardly walk. It took about 3 weeks of her taking CBD every day, but now it's been 6 months and her knee hasn't hurt in 6 months. CBD takes a while to build up in your body. So I would say, yes, absolutely. If you are going to go for a walk, if you put on a patch, that patch will get into your body within 15 minutes. But the easiest way to do it would be to, like, take a gummy. CBD gummies are everywhere. I make CBD gummies as well. Take a gummy an hour before your walk. You want to give it time to get into your body. So if it's a gummy, if it's an edible, that's going to take up to 2 hours. So maybe like if you get up in the morning, take a CBD pill or a CBD gummy, and then go for a walk an hour or two after that. Some people even take their CBD at night. I find CBD to be energizing. Some people say it helps them sleep. So everyone is different. But so I would say yes. Also, topicals are really effective. And unless you've tried one and you found that it hasn't worked, they last for about 2 to 3 hours, but they work very quickly. So if you're like, you find like your back's to be a little tight, put a topical on it and then go on your walk. And then I would think that you would have a more enjoyable walk. But so the short answer, the short answer is put on a topical before you go, or take a gummy or an edible or a capsule 2 hours before you go, or I think that's it.
And you think that would help the numb stinging in the legs too?
No, numb and stinging is different because that's nerves. This product has menthol in it. So I would say what I have found that, and I also put in arnica, St. John's wort. St. John's, this product contains arnica and St. John's wort. So I did formulate it for nerve pain, but again, nerve pain is very, very tricky, and it's very difficult to treat. So I don't even want to lie to you. I will tell you though that this is formulated with St. John's wort and menthol, because some people feel that the coolingness of menthol helps. So if you haven't, I would say if you want to try one of my products, I would definitely go with this one, because it has it has the things that are supposed to help with nerve pain. But if not, then I would say move up to a product that has more THC in it, and go with a chill medicated. I wish I could make products right now, but I can't. Also, this is an experiment, and I will tell you right now, the THCV tincture is the most expensive product on my website, and I hate that it's this expensive, but it is the most expensive cannabinoid right now because it is so rare. Look into it. Look into if they are looking at it for everything, including nerve pain. So I would say research it first. And if you believe in the research that shows THCV can be used topically, and I will, you know what, Mindy, can you can you send me the information of that person who is wanting that information? Because I get these products from researchers. So for example, the THCV is right out of Chicago, and the researcher went to Wayne State University. So I text them up and I'm like, tell me about this. And so they just had a seminar on THCV and using it topically. For me, it's just too expensive to use topically. So I want to look and see first if they would recommend it, if they have any research that shows that this THCV tincture could be used topically effectively for nerve pain. So if you could give me that person's information, or if that person can just email me at Q.
Yeah, I did. Okay. That's
Q. I'll just put it in. I could just put my email in the chat. How about that? And that way everybody could have it. So I'm going to say to everyone, but it's Q at cultureclub.com. Okay, return.
Our questions are beefing up, and I don't want to keep people. We're not, how much time do you have, Q? Do you want to give it like 10 minutes for these questions?
Also, the person who had nerve pain though, please, I want them to try St. John's wort and St. John's wort first if they haven't already. Let me know if that helps. if you haven't already. And you can get that from Amazon too. It's an oil. Make sure you get the flowering tops and make sure it's true oil. Okay, all right.
So you have Q's email. I am happy to get you through to her as well. And I'll just keep reading some of these questions with the time we have left. So you mentioned the 2-hour rule when you're eating, or when you're taking a med that says avoid grapefruit. Does it apply when the medicine is time released? Do you know if it applies?
I don't know. And I will tell you guys that I also suggest, I do tea parties, as Sharon mentioned. Is it Sharon? Yeah, Sharon. As Sharon mentioned, I do tea parties every month. At the last Thursday of every month at cultureclub.com, I do a high tea party. It's on Zoom. It's free, and we have a cannabis nurse there, and she answers all your questions. However, she does consultations, and so if you want a plan tailored to you, and she's looked at all of your medications, and she can tell you how to do that and how to navigate around those medications. Her email is cannabisnurse.com, and her consultations are $50 if you tell her that, you know, I'm here from Q. So I just feel $50. She'll give you a whole wellness plan. She'll tell you what to take when, you know, how to deal with your medications, and I'm going to put that in there as well. So yeah, that would be my suggestion, because
so they can go to the tea party just by going to your website on Thursday, on the last Thursday of the month.
Yes, so register. So you just have to right on my homepage, it'll say join our high tea. So you click on that and you send, you know, put your email in, and then it gives you a Zoom link. And then we'll also send you a reminder because I forget to. So.
All right. I understand that cannabis is regulated by the government. Does that include CBD oil?
No. CBD right now right now CBD products are being I don't want to say not even regulated. They are being guided, or they fall under the 2018 US Farm Act. And as such, all that they will say is, like, for instance, because my products are, if you go to a gas station, who knows what you're getting? You know, that's what we tell people, go to regulated places. So, so go to a provisioning center. For instance, if you go online, chances are, first of all, Amazon, don't buy CBD off of Amazon because you don't know where that's coming from. And Amazon is really particular if they will even allow you to sell CBD on Amazon. So, so don't do that. But go to people's websites, because trust me, it took me 2 months to get approved to sell CBD online. And the hoops they make you jump through. It was easier for me to get a license to sell weed in Detroit than it was for me to sell CBD on my website. We have to list all of our test results. So whatever company you go to, there are quite a few companies out there. There's Mary's, there's the Charlotte's Web, which is ridiculously expensive, but you know, they were on CNN. So there's that. But yeah, every CBD company has to have their test results on their website. You know, mine are on there under our About Us page. So yeah, if they're selling CBD, those products tend to have been tested. You know, I knock on wood, because you can test them once and then who knows about who's regulating it. But right now, no, the federal government is not going in and saying, like, there's no FDA sticker on it. You know, they aren't looking at facilities. It's pretty much on the it's up to the honesty of the companies right now. So that's why, you know, you trust the companies and know that, by the way, it's not at my house. These come from a GMP compliant manufacturing facility, FYI. So yes. But no, unfortunately, they're not necessarily regulated just yet. Every state is kind of doing their own thing, and the FDA right now is too busy trying to slow down cannabis legalization to really do too much with CBD, which is unfortunate because each state right now is doing CBD. It's up to every state to do their own CBD laws. And so you have a lot of farmers that want to do it because they have, you know, lots of land and it grows like a weed. But unfortunately, if their crops test over 0.3% THC, government makes them destroy all of those crops. So it's getting harder for these companies to do that. So the short answer is not really regulated. Do your research before you buy and check their test results.
Is there a strand that can reduce hand tremors?
Off the top of my head, no. But I will tell, but that's because I've worked with someone who has essential tremor, and we have tried a couple of things, and I've asked her to tell me if THCV works, but I haven't heard back from her, but I think it's because I've translated it wrong. So I would say there are strains out there that will not get you high. For example, like Cannatonic number 4 is a strain that some provisioning centers tend to have. Look into, I can get back to you on it, but I would Google, if you want to know before I get back to you, you should Google, cannabis and, tremors, put the type of tremor you have in. And then after that, put in actually Israeli research. Israel right now is on the forefront of cannabis research. So there's a company called Tikkun Olam, by the way. They have proprietary strains. The Israeli government and Israeli researchers are pretty much, they are top national around the world when it comes to that. But the top of my head, I want to steer you towards CBD strains like Cannatonic number 4, if you can. And actually, I'll have that in my kits later. But Cannatonic number 4 is a CBD strain that you can actually buy from the grower who is in Traverse City. It's Great Lakes Hemp Supplements, I believe. And lots of places sell CBD flower here in Michigan online. And you can order that online. But yeah, and that's a good way to try it. But I want you to Google it first. Leafly also is a great source of information. That's Leafly, Leafly. So if you Google, movement disorders in cannabis /Leafly, also projectcbd.org. Great resource for cannabis information, not just CBD. I say Project CBD, but he talks about everything. They would have case studies, and also look on their website as well for things about tremors and conditions such as those. But the top of my head, I would say a CBD strain, like a Cannatonic number 4, which won't get you high though, so you won't feel anything. You'll just be smoking, but maybe you'll tremor a little bit less.
That's great advice. This question is, what are the psychoactive effects?
So psychoactive, that's a fancy way of saying hi. It depends on your level. Some people are super sensitive. Like for instance, well, let's say like for the Delta 8 gummies, for example, because my neighbor down the street is super sensitive to THC. So she took a quarter and she was high. I drove past her and I was like, oh yeah, she's high. My husband takes 2 of these and plays, I don't know, some video game. So, he likes it because it gives him this sort of like, almost like a glass of wine, a nice kind of beer kind of buzz. It's not that, oh my gosh, the room is spinning. It's more of a sort of wine, I've had a nice glass of wine feeling. So psychoactivity means that it has the potential to give you a buzz.
All right. Next question is, how do your products compare to the one-to-one products?
There's no comparison, and I'm a huge fan of one-to-one products, and I tell people, especially if you have MS, with spasticity in particular, you should try a one-to-one product, and I steer people towards Mary's Medicinals because it's tested, and I've seen her at conventions, and I like her, I trust her. So, but no, one-to-one products mean that they have equal parts in dispensary THC. So when you go to a provisioning center and you see something that has that 1-to-1, that's usually a CBD to THC ratio. So I'm a huge fan of 1-to-1 products. I cannot sell 1-to-1 products until I have a cannabis license again. Right now, I can only sell CBD. So for example, if you were to get Mary's 1-to-1, I believe Mary's 1-to-1 is 300 milligrams of CBD and 300 milligrams of THC. So that's like a 50%, THC ratio, where my products can only have 0.3% THC. So there is no comparison. If you have spasticity, I want you, and you want to try something, I would suggest that you try a 1-to-1 product. And it doesn't have to be a Mary's product. You can make your own 1-to-1 product by taking, your favorite CBD and getting a gram of RSO and mixing it together, and bam, you have a 1-to-1 product. So you don't have to necessarily do hers or anyone's. You can make it yourself. But I will tell you this: what I like about the 1-to-1 product is that it's there's this drug called Sativex, which is approved in every country but the US for multiple sclerosis spasticity. Sativex is a 1-to-1 CBD THC product. And funny, it's not legal here in America, where THC is federally illegal. So if I were to go to Germany, I can get a doctor who could prescribe me Sativex right now, and Sativex is a 1-to-1. So you can make it with RSO and CBD. You can buy it from Mary's and other places too. Maybe Naked Health has a 1-to-1, but again, you would need to go to a provisioning center to buy those products. But I'm a big fan of 1-to-1 products. They've been tested, and Sativex is also made by that same company that makes the first the first cannabis drug approved in the US for epilepsy, Epidiolex. So, and just FYI, so to give you an idea about that, Sativex will cost Sativex costs, it doesn't matter, we can't get it here. Well, let's move on to the questions. So.
This one says, is CBD not as effective if you don't take it regularly? So in other words, is it more effective if you take it regularly?
It depends on what you're taking it for. If you're taking it for something like anxiety, then yeah, it's effective. If you for that, because it'll dampen that anxiety relatively quickly. If you're taking it for minor pain, sure, you probably notice something right away. Think of CBD as a really potent ibuprofen. CBD has been likened to steroids and as anti-inflammatory properties. So think of it as something that if you would take a Motrin or an I shouldn't say Motrin because that's a brand name. If you would take an ibuprofen or non-steroidal anti-inflammatory, consider CBD to be something similar to that. So but if you have like ongoing pain, it definitely helps to keep it in your body. You will notice once you stop taking it. So that's that.
That's interesting. How much topical do you use?
Topicals, I tell people to just, everybody's different, but usually you shouldn't have to slather on anything. You just want it to just kind of get into your skin. I don't know if you can see that. Well, yeah, and then just kind of like massage it in a little bit. Just like if you use it the way that you would use Bengay or, Salonpas or, you really shouldn't need a lot, because usually the products are concentrated and usually they have materials that help them penetrate into your skin. So, and then with the topical, you can't overdose on it. So some people tend to use them, several times a day. Depends on how long. I mean, some people can use a topical. I had one lady who said, I put on a topical, I didn't have to use it for 2 more days. Everyone's different. So, but find what works for you, but start with a small amount, just enough to kind of get it into your skin and make sure that it's in there. But you definitely don't have to slather it on. No, rub it on lightly and just massage it in.
All right, we could just keep going all day here. We'll just take a few more and then we're gonna let Q have a break. You're doing awesome answering all these questions, but you can go to her tea parties and contact her too. All right, so are there any meds that should not be mixed with the products you're describing?
I cannot advise you on that because again, I don't know what meds you're taking. I will tell you that projectcbd.org has a list of drug interactions. And so they have them all on there. So I would direct you there. So I'm not comfortable telling you that. I will tell you that CBD has been shown to be effective and safe to take. And again, unless you have that grapefruit warning. Beyond that, I'm not sure how much more I should say.
Okay. Yeah, you definitely have, you check with your providers, your medical providers too, when you.
Just so you know, your medical providers are going to say, just don't, there's not.
That's true too.
Right. And I say that not to disparage doctors, but trust me, I am working with the legislature right now to make it so that at least there is some continuing education that's required by doctors when it comes to cannabis.
That's
because
fantastic.
so many people are using it now, and we need doctors to give people informed information.
Yeah.
You can't keep throwing up your hands saying, I don't know, let me know how it works, because that's what I get up from a lot of doctors.
That's fantastic. Thank you for doing that.
You're welcome. But yeah, so right now it's an option for them. They can take it. It's an option. It's not mandatory.
Mm-hmm. Can you please share a bit more of the GMP products? Is there certain labeling on the products in particular states?
I don't know. All I can say is that for instance, like gummies and things like that,
Can I have a minute?
They're made at a facility that handles making cannabis products and CBD products for people all over the country. So it's not here. So I mean, it's. I don't know. I guess there's a website to learn more about GMP practices. I just know that they all tell us that we have to use good manufacturing practices, approved places. And so that's what I've done. So it's open book extracts if you care to know, but yes.
So we're getting, this is a good way to conclude. People want to know where your products are available and do you sell bundles of them? I think you better get going in that kitchen of yours.
No, hey, I've got more orders coming, but I'll put it in the chat as well, but it is Culture with a Q. So cultureclub.com.
We put it in the chat.
Yeah. Cultureclub.com. So
you can order on Q's website.
Yeah, I say bundles. I mean, sure. I don't know what does that mean by a bundle?
It means a lot.
I try to price it so that it is approachable and affordable, because you shouldn't have to. I know these MS drugs are expensive, so you shouldn't have to pay so much to feel better. So yeah. So yeah, but so you'll find shop around, but I feel that I offer different things at a great price. So yeah, so a lot of places don't offer things like CBG, for example, but look into CBG because the MS research is really going towards CBG for whatever reason. So we're right there.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you so much for your research and your studies and your product developments.
Thank you.
Someone asked if this session is recorded, and it is. So I will make sure that it's available for people. And so will Q. Of course, my dogs are going to start making noise right when we're ending. I thank you so much, Q, for running such an amazing session and answering so many awesome questions. Yeah, if we could all clap for Q.
Thank you.
Here at TMU.
I appreciate
Thank you so much. This was an awesome way to end MS Awareness Month in our conversation series. And know that Q is available in the community to you, and Yoga Moves MS is here for you. And if your question was not answered, please know that we'll get it to Q.
Yeah.
Either way, through her or through me. And check out all of our Yoga Moves classes. It'll help your breathing and staying focused together with all these wonderful ideas shared today.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, and Mindy, I should say that because, you know, Mindy also does self-care Sundays on Culture Club, but which is usually the first Sunday of the month, but that's Easter. So we won't be doing it this month, this coming month. So, but I'll be seeing you guys soon, and send me any questions you have. Thank you so much for the attention and the questions and the curiosity, and please share the word and share the good health.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you.
Thank you.
Namaste.
Thank you,
Thank you
Mindy.
so much.
you.
Thank you, Mindy. Thank you, Q.
Q.
Feel good,
Thank you,
everyone.
Mindy. We love you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.